지상파 채널 나와서처럼 유명한 인싸가 됐어.
What is good, y'all? This is JV here, and today I'm back here with another album review. Now, today we're doing a review for Kendrick Lamar's new release. I don't know if it's EP, I don't know if it's an album, but it's Untitled, Unmastered. Didn't know what to expect from this. I know there was some leaks, or not leaks, but there was an image basically that went up of a whole bunch of upcoming TDE projects, and this was, I guess, the first one to come off that list. Kind of unexpected. It was just gonna be like, yo, we're dropping this, and I didn't know what to expect. And when, you know, basically it kind of came out that this is basically the Untitled series of stuff that he's performed live, kind of some things that didn't make it onto Pimp a Butterfly, some stuff that's basically raw recording. So I didn't know what to expect here, if it was just gonna be like a collection of kind of throwaways, you know, unfinished tracks. But I gotta say, I was not let down. Whether he intended it or not, we got a fleshed out, cohesive project, and whether it was being finished, you know, mastered or and then cleaned up and then developed for a full-length commercial release or not, we got something really special here, and I really liked it. And I gotta say, man, like, Kendrick, unmastered, raw, kind of just put together, he released a project that's better than a majority of releases that we're seeing out of the hip-hop game right now. Like, real talk. We have elements of neo soul, of you know, some old school soul, some funk, some jazz, some hip-hop. I mean, this is Kendrick at his purest form right now, and I'm really excited to get into it. So basically, the way I go over these album reviews, I basically go track by track and give my thoughts, you know, reading over my notes and basically go over what I thought. So first off, we're starting out with Untitled 1, and gotta say, man, this was a crazy track. It took me a couple listens definitely to really get the full gist of it. There's a lot of things that I was picking up each time I would listen to this track. And basically what I took away from this track is it's basically him kind of chronicling in a narrative way the end of the world, basically revelations, the after the rapture. I mean, he explains, you know, water drying up and backslidden Christians, you know, turning back, and atheists, you know, in the sky ramming planes, like some crazy stuff going on. And one of my favorite parts of this track is definitely when he references, he's it's basically, it sounds like him talking to God or maybe some kind of introspective prayer of sorts, and he's basically saying, you know, how can I go to hell? I made To Pimp a Butterfly for you, basically, and that I used my voice for what you wanted to. So a really incredible track, man, and a really intense delivery, you know, heavily lyrical, you know, between, you know, uses of symbolism and a lot of biblical influence there, and then, you know, him really just going at it in the narrative function. Again, the whole kind of rapture, end of the world in the biblical sense thing is not something I picked up on an initial listen. It was only after a couple times where I heard like references about like the bell tolling and everyone hearing it. That's, you know, straight out of Revelations there. So I thought that was a really interesting way to start off the project, you know, just at a real powerful moment. Next we got Untitled 2, an absolute banger, but not the conventional banger that we even would get from Kendrick, man. We have some spastic sax touches on this one, a really crazy, you know, unconventional, almost unorthodox, quirky kind of delivery to it that is reminiscent of some of the moments on To Pimp a Butterfly where you hear that pain and anguish in his voice. So this was a really dope track. Definitely one of the ones that, again, I don't think any of this project really would go necessarily, quote unquote, is, you know, radio potential, but I think this is about as close as it gets in this project. Yeah, man, the overall, like, it's bass heavy, it's guttural, it's grimy, and man, this joint really rocks. Next we got Untitled 3. Really enjoyed this track. You know, it has a moving tempo, and it has like this funk bass line underneath that I was really feeling. And on the latter half of the track, Kendrick, you know, supplied some vocals, which he's definitely sang before, but this was a way, like, you know, with a stripped back instrumental that we really got to, like, you know, focus on his vocals. And I was like, you know, it's not bad. And then Bilal actually did a contribution on this one, and he was a collaborator. I believe he was on To Pimp a Butterfly too. So it was cool hearing him on that track. Brings us to Untitled 4. Really minimalistic kind of, beat, really raw, just drum and kick snare kind of pattern with there. We got some Anguish deliveries from J-Rock, really low, guttural, and then SZA actually absolutely kills it, man. I'm glad that despite this not being like a full-blown commercial release, we still got a lot of, TDE participation. I mean, the only ones that weren't on this were Isaiah Rashad and Schoolboy Q. But man, we got SZA on here, we got J-Rock, and then we got Absol on the latter half of the project. So man, really, really fantastic song. And it brings me to Untitled 6, which I don't know if it's my favorite track on the project. I mean, I've listened to this a number of times, and it's a short project, man. It's only about 35 minutes or something like that, topping off at 8 tracks. And Untitled 6 had CeeLo Green singing on it. My God, not something I saw coming in a million years, but boy, do I say that it matches, man. This is like a match made in heaven, Kendrick and CeeLo, and CeeLo absolutely killed it. It was a very prominent, soulful delivery, Took me back to friggin' Gnarls Barkley tie. Man, CeeLo absolutely murdered his verse on there. I absolutely loved it. Untitled 7, man, trap flavored. We got some stripped down and almost minimalistic deliveries from Kendrick. That levitate. That part that was really cool. It was really, again, unconventional. That's one of the reoccurring themes on this project, is that none of this really follows a pattern from what you've seen him do before, and I think what you'll see him do in the future is that everything is experimental, and he's trying new things, and he's very much succeeding to it. And then on the second half of this song, on Untitled 7, also, mind you, Swizz Beatz' son actually contributed on the producing in this, so that's absolutely crazy to hear, Swizz Beatz' son starting off this early, so shout out to them, man. And basically the second half of this track turns into a jam session, I guess, just basically some light guitar plucking, and then Kendrick kind of taking kind of like an old school soul improv kind of singing role on this one, and he's kind of delivering some kind of, romance, old school, making love kind of music, and some really humorous lines in there, like, "You gonna take this dick, man." I love some of the lines on there. Really funny moments, but actually I love the rawness of this, and I like the fact that it was just really just a peer into the creative process, man. I feel like this was as pure as it gets when it comes to instrumentation goes and artistry goes. And then to wrap it up, we got Untitled 8, and basically we got like a West Coast G-Funk kind of vibe to this one. It's a moving track, and love this one. Again, this is another one that could have radio potential if radio is willing to take that risk. Yeah, man, it's a moving song, it's engaged, and Kendrick's really going at it. This one feels like a really fleshed out track. It by no means feels like a B-side or anything like this. This one could straight have made To Pimp a Butterfly, and it would have added a great level of versatility on that project. So loved Untitled 8. So again, going over my overall thoughts on the project, I think it's an absolutely fantastic project. A welcome addition to the Kendrick discography. Yeah, man, not at all what I expected. Superseded my expectations by far, and man, it just shows the sheer genius of Kendrick Lamar, man. I'm so glad that we get a little bit more music from that era of his life, because knowing Kendrick, the next album is probably going to be a whole different ball game from what we've seen. The reinvention from Section 80 to Good Kid, Mad City to Pimp a Butterfly. Even before that, Overly Dedicated. He's reinvented himself so many times, experimenting with so many different sounds. So I'm glad that because of this such amazing era of To Pimp a Butterfly with this neo jazz fusion kind of music, that we get a little bit more from that, and mind you, a really fantastic project at that. So, curious as to what y'all thought about it. So in the comment section below, let me know what you thought about this album. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you kind of lukewarm to it? How do you think it matches up to his previous releases? I'm curious as to what y'all think. Till next time, this is JV. I love you guys. Bye.